How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And before we get started, I want to let you guys know I put a cheat sheet together that'll help you trade options like a pro. It is the 5 strategies that I use to see a lot of success, and I want to make sure that you guys can get a head start, especially if you are trading options or maybe you are thinking about it. You can find the link in the first comments or you can find it in the description. So let's talk about SOFI. So it was down about 1.72% on the day. And of course, this means that we had a red day. So many people are asking, where do I see the price going for this week? So I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for SOFI. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $6.86, being down 1.72%. On the low, it tested $6.77, and then on the high, testing $7.27. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 39.29 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 37.203 million shares. So we had above average volume on the day, but you can see that we had a slight pullback in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it's at 47.28. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 50-day, and we're also below the 21-day EMA. So what you can see here, we have enjoyed quite the run up, and now we're seeing a slight pullback in the play. So what we want to keep an eye on. So we saw a low at $6.77. So if we continue to have a pullback, we want to see support holding up around $6.68. If it breaks through $6.68, that's where we want to see if we have a pullback to right here around $6.10. And if we break through that level, we have a gap that needs to be filled right here at $5.78. I'm just giving you guys the worst case scenario here if it decides to start selling off. Again, this is not looking bullish at the moment. It is continuing to form lower lows and as well as lower highs as well, so you can't ignore that. But if we're looking for a reversal, we want to see some strength out of the play. It needs to come back to the 21-day EMA, which is at $7.04, or even just being at $7. Because if it could do that, we could get above that 50-day moving average and see if we can make that move going to 8, especially right here around 805. But you could see clearly, as far as for the 50-day moving average, it just continues to be resistance for SOFI. So that's why this is a key area that you want to make sure that you're watching, especially if you're trading the momentum in this play. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for SOFI. Scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings, we have Verichin Fund Management LLC with shares of 14,898, and we also have a closed position from Insight Advisors LLC. And as far as for the others, we have already covered. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 62.72%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 7.42 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 2.7 million, updated 19 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it's at 2.75%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the second, it was at 45.87, and then when we take a look at the close for the third, it was at 62.72. So right away, that is a big increase. And looking at the short interest percentage of the float being at 19.67%, SOFI does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look look at the order flow distribution for SOFI. So we see on the inflow, it is at 40.59 million, and then on the outflow, it's at 43.34 million. So we had an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 0. On the medium, it was 23.02 million. On the small, it was 17.57 million. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 0. On the medium, it was 25.32 million. And then on the small, it was 18.02 million. And then when we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for June the 6th and as well as June the 3rd, we had 0. And then when we analyze the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, you can see that we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had 0 on both sides. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it is at 4.29%. No surprises there. We know that SOFI is a stock that trades at relatively high volume. So let's move on to the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for SOFI when it comes to the price action, so we ended up seeing a high at $7.27. And the reason why it's very important for SOFI to be able to close at $7 or above, we have the 21-day EMA, which is at $7.04. So if we see continued weakness, let's say if it decides to pull back below $6.50, we have a gap that needs to be filled at $5.78. So that's why you want to pay attention to these levels, especially if we get down to $6. And as far as the upside is concerned, for a strong breakout, we need to have some price action above $8.05 because we know we have a gap that needs to be filled to the upside right around $8.45. But with the volatile markets that we have, you're asking for a fairly big move. So I would say the best case scenario for SOFI is try to get back to $7 and consolidate above this area. And another point I want to bring up in regards to the technicals, we continue to have resistance at the 50-day moving average. So I want you guys to be aware of this pattern. So if we continue to show some weakness, it's definitely not a good sign for the stock. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, we do see some activity, but taking a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential, and we can see that the short volume has picked up a bit as well. But overall, in general, from looking at the chart, it does look like the stock is going to be on a downtrend, but it's very easy for this stock to reverse. But at least you guys know the levels that you need to look out for if it decides to do that. And I just want to remind you guys again, if you want the 5 strategies to trade options like a pro, I highly suggest you check out the first link in the comment and as well as in the description to make sure that you can bring your option game to the next level. I'm telling you guys, I made it straight to the point, very concise, and I think it's like under 5 pages, so you can't go wrong, and I know you'll get a lot from it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.